Welcome to another episode of Fill in the Blank Podcast. I'm here with Corey Armbrecht.
Yo.
Corey, we're talking about the 7 gates of hell.
Oh my.
The hardest metal band out in existence.
I want to hear him.
It sounds like a metal band, doesn't it? 7 Gates of Hell. What do you think their main song would be?
Give me your firstborn.
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, actually, the 7 Gates of Hell is a modern urban legend regarding locations in York County, Pennsylvania. 2 versions of the legend exist, one involving a burnt insane asylum and the other an eccentric doctor. Both agree that there are 7 gates in a wooded area of Hellam Township, Pennsylvania, and that anyone who passes through all 7 goes straight to hell. The location in question never housed an institution. The aforementioned doctor only constructed 1 gate to keep out trespassers. Note, this is private land subjecting visitors to trespassing charges. So,
Okay,
yeah,
I already got like 2 things there. 1 insane asylum, is that what I heard?
Yeah.
And okay, there's that. So
A burnt down insane asylum.
okay, so there's your first lore and myth. That's easy to make up, and then also an insane person can make up anything, and then also some crazy doctor could make it up to keep people up from trespassing. So like those 3 things are my knee-jerk reactions to that.
I think my favorite phrasing in this whole entire intro for it is go straight to hell. It's like Monopoly. Like, don't collect
pass.
$200.
Yeah.
Repent on your sins. Just go straight to hell. So let's talk about the myth a little bit. There are 2 popular versions of the myth with numerous variants of each. One states that a mental institution used to be located on either Toad Road or Trout Run Road, depending on the source, in Hellam Township, Pennsylvania. It was erected in a remote location so as to isolate people deemed insane from the rest of the world. One day in the 1900s, a fire broke out, and due to its remoteness, firefighters could not reach the hospital in time to save it. Many patients died in the flames, while others escaped and were soon beaten to death. Now, with that first myth, is that the whole concept of it's a place of mass bloodshed? So you would think of it more as like an evil type place, like an omen type place.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that that would be a gate to hell, or one of the sigils or whatever that you would have to go through or break to pass through into the gates of hell. What is your idea on them being gates that if you collect all 7, you go straight to hell?
I think this...
Do you believe that there's something out there in the world?
I was really thinking this would go in a different direction. I think in this specific case, it's all kind of a bunch of poppycock. Like it's a bunch of people or a bunch of crazies or just a bunch...
Like a wild goose chase?
Yeah.
See if there's some guy out there that, the people that chase storms, or someone that's chasing the gates of hell, trying to break all the sigils.
Yeah. But those don't even, exist in this case. In this case, it's like somebody in some, rural town made up some story, and legend has it, blah, 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 and my great-great-great-great-grandma, saw something, and yada, yada. That's what it sounds like, folklore.
Well, a lot with, unleashing demons and types of, spiritual stuff that's in the Bible is breaking sigils in the apocalypse. Like, once all the sigils are broken, it's a constant fight between angels and demons and all these types of things. And once all the sigils break, then, something bad will happen or something will happen. An event will occur that might start the oncoming apocalypse. So it's that whole idea. It seems like just on a smaller scale. More like if you're looking for a way to enter hell. Much like if you're trying to summon a crossroads demon, the whole thing is you have to bury a box with an ID and a couple love things that you cherish in a little box in the middle of a crossroads, and then some demon will appear. And then you can sell your soul. Like, a lot of people do that. You ever heard of that lore?
Yeah.
They come in to collect 10 years later. They give you 10 years or something. You get whatever you want or whatever and then hellhounds come for you and everything like that.
This is kind of reminding me of it's like Dante's Inferno, and Dante's Inferno for one, and then the Divine Comedy. Who wrote those? Shoot. But they're old, I want to say Greek time stories.
You think
and they
this
talk
is?
about the seven gates of hell, the seven levels of hell.
Do you think this is like a story that is worth like kind of having around, like kind of like a myth that's out there to kind of scare people, or at least give people like a sense of like there's another power out there, and if you're a non-believer, go and try and accomplish these goals or pass through these gates just to go straight to hell.
Maybe. I mean, I think
Seems a little far fetched to me.
I think
but
it's
that
all
just
far
might be
fetched.
my
Yeah, I think it's
thinking.
all like, it's like Lord of the Rings or any sort of story.
Or saying Bloody Mary in a mirror.
Yeah, I mean, like you can write as much lore and as much like background and much history as you want in something mythical, but it doesn't actually exist. But you can say like this was Satan's dad who bore this of the great gods, and they were actually the Titans' fathers, and you know what I'm saying. Like you can just keep making new histories up. Yeah, it's Dante's Nine Circles of Hell from the Divine Comedy. Like it's like a Greek. I can't remember.
I see, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other myth. The gates' role in the story is disputed. Some say that the gates were put up by local search parties to trap the remaining inmates. Others say that, completely unrelated to the asylum story, an eccentric physician who lived on the property built several gates along a path deep into the forest. Both accounts agree on only one gate being visible during the day, but the other six can be only seen at night. According to the legend, no one has ever passed the fifth gate, but if you passed all seven, they would take you directly to hell. It's the whole idea like there's a certain like on the word of God, those little tablet things. Apparently, whoever transcribed whatever God said, Megatron or whoever the hell it was. That's a real angel's name, but
No, I know. I'm just the Megatron makes me think of
Transformers.
Yeah.
Well, the whole idea that like you have these tablets that certain people can read, and they have certain things on there, like certain clues or something to be able to create like some type of thing or some gates or challenges.
A key or
Yeah, something like God has 3 challenges, only one pure of heart, and then you have to complete these 3 challenges, and you usually end up in your death. Like self-sacrifice is the main way to kind of end all and just stop evil, which is weird that God would want you to sacrifice yourself.
all of that sounds interesting, and I would like I could dive deep into all that sort of stuff, and I guess I have in the past, and I've forgotten most of it, but it's just we can write as much as we want about the secrets and this and that, and like we can make up our own like what is it witches do for their like incantations and stuff. They have like their own concoctions, their own witches brews. We reach those conclusions on our own, and maybe there's something to be said about witches brews. I feel like that's another podcast in general, but it's mostly like man-made written myth and I think imagination.
I think it's the idea that we all want like a secret to life. You see it on Snapchat, like hacks for your life or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, knowing that you can have this like kind of sense of communication. It seems like with some celestial force,
Yeah,
being able
deeper,
to like it's using you as a weapon
mm-hmm.
and intervening on stopping evil in the world. Especially if you're someone that's like a diehard Christian or really diehard in your beliefs, you might be able to kind of jump in on that. You know what I mean?
Like if somebody came up to me and started if somebody came up to me and started talking about like in a serious tone about like, oh, that'll get you to the 3rd level of hell or something like that, I would be like, check out, like instantly, like boop, I'm out. But at the same time, I'd probably jump into that conversation and challenge their way of thinking, just because I used to think that way too on some level. I mean, I didn't believe in that many levels of hell or whatever, but like it was still, the concepts of heaven and hell. But there was always an interest in those sorts of things. So, I guess that's why I know about Dante's Inferno a little bit and Divine Comedy. But there's even like the book Enoch, which was a book that didn't make it into the Bible, even though it was written in that time. And that goes into like the angels and demons and levels of hell and heaven and stuff like that, which is like really interesting for how old it was.
It's just hard to think there's a section in the Bible that says, like, you know, Julio Martinez, 3:14, said one time that God gave me a task, and if thou shalt kill thy neighbor and steal his Porsche,
mm-hmm,
thou shalt pass into the next life
mm-hmm.
with glory. It's like, what? It's like, what am I reading
And then
right
everyone
now?
accepts that as like
Law.
law. Yeah.
So in reality, there is no road called Toad Road in Hellam Township, but there is one named Trout Run Road. There was no asylum on Trout Run Road, and the local doctor only put up one gate to keep out trespassers. A related myth states that Hellam was named after hell. This is untrue, as well as it is corruption in Hallam after Hallamshire, England. The area purported to be the location of the seven gates is on private property, and trespassers can be prosecuted. That, even though that's a real thing and not myth like the first two stories I read about a doctor in a burned down insane asylum,
Mm-hmm.
it's the whole factor of if you create a private property that has a story behind it about being the seven gates of hell, and this is where the seven gates are located, and if you trespass onto this property you will be prosecuted. It's the whole idea that's going to bolster up people even more to think, why are they having a private property if there isn't a seven gates of hell on there? Maybe that's why it's Seven Gates of Hell is located on a private property where there's no trespassing.
No, no, no.
Because then when you go on there, you get shot.
That's what I mean. That's
Stay
how I
away.
looked at it. Like it's just private property. Like we're on private property. You know, we can tell somebody, hey, don't trespass. This is our place, right? So it's like they just owned some land, and they were like, get off my lawn. And then they made up some story like to some little girl who was gonna run through their field and was like, the seven gates of hell are back there. Don't go back there. And then it turned into this whole thing, and now we're reading and doing a podcast on it.
Well,
Just like Bible stories and all these other things.
well, some notoriety on it. The Seven Gates of Hell actually received a fair amount of attention. Mike Argentino wrote about it in the New York Daily Record. And Matt Lake featured a section on the gates in his book, Weird Pennsylvania. Hellam Township published a page debunking the myths. Local resident Cheryl Engler reported a number of tourists searching for the gates and harassing her and giving her cause to call the police. So Cheryl Engler is the owner of the property. And you gotta think, she's probably pissed off that people keep trying to go on there and break these gates. There are no gates! I have searched my whole property.
No, I think she probably keeps up and says, "Get away! You're gonna fall into the gates of hell."
Yeah,
you ever seen The Descent?
No, I have not.
We should watch The Descent. That's like it's about these women that go into caves. They're like cave divers or whatever, and just doing that for like a weekend getaway or whatever. So they're like going deep into this unexplored cave. Yeah, shit gets real.
Well, the only thing in the media that the Seven Gates of Hell seem to appear in is Toad Road, a 2012 independent psychological horror film making use of this fabulous legend.
What's the film called?
Toad Road, the road that does not exist in Pennsylvania, but is apparently where where the gates are located, where the insane asylum, or where the doctor built some gates. It's hard to think, like, if you're going to conceptualize the idea that there are seven gates of hell, you're going to conceptualize it with the idea that it was either in a mass, like, horrific tragedy where these gates have been formed, or some crazy psychopath killer type experimenting guy that created these gates by using, like, blessings or some type of enchantments and doing these weird seances and stuff just to be able to curse these gates that you might be able to walk through. But the idea that someone'd be willing to even test if there is a hell or not, why would you want to know that, considering what we've seen from like Little Nicky and all these other things that are like, it just seems like it's something you, even if it is real, you don't want to go after and try and really find out, because once you get the answer to, I mean, what's the devil going to be like? Congratulations, you collect $200.
Actually, I feel like, yeah, there's motivation there because your curiosity wants to know if it's real or not. I feel like that's how I was when I was younger. Like, I thought, Constantine was a cool movie because it made it seem cool to, like, not practice the dark arts, but, like, know more about the world that people don't, the secrets and stuff. It's like you just want to know more in general. But it's like, why are you spending time knowing more about something that might not exist? Well, I don't know. I mean,
Well,
that's what science
mankind is
says what
so
science
blessed.
is.
Mankind is so reliant on faith and belief. Like, do we really want to know the answer is the true question. We're always seeking for answers. We're always seeking for,
Mm-hmm.
what the final conclusion of everything is. What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of everything that we're trying to do?
Yep.
Like, what's the point of going out and having a job if
Exploring, digging deeper.
you can't take money with you when you die that we know of? So it's the whole idea that we're looking for a final answer or a final judgment, but we're still content with the idea when it comes to like religion or celestial or fantasy aspect that we're fine not knowing 100%. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
or not fine not knowing, and then you have people, like paranormal
like I said,
shows
it's
and paranormal teens who are exploring that sort of stuff, and like I do believe in actually all that jazz, but this case of it sounds like somebody told a little kid, "Get off my lawn, the devil's gonna get you," and it turned into this sort of like lore story. I do believe in many scenarios and have like seen certain evidence of like weird paranormal interactions and things like that. So I see how that could create new legends and things. But in this case of what it's talking about with this insane asylum, the private land and whatever, this case sounds like just a made up hocus pocus.
Do you think that we want to know the answer if it fits our justification on the answer we want it to be?
Oh, we do that all the time.
I feel like if someone told me that Bigfoot was real, I would 100% want to know. But if someone told me that there is no way Bigfoot is real and had the evidence to prove that there's never been a Bigfoot, there was never, and that whole myth just died, I would definitely not want to know that answer, because it still gives me the fantasy aspect that there is this creature out there that is, like a pre-hominid type deal where.
I want to get you a X-Files poster for this room.
For sure, dude.
It says, "I want to believe." That's like their tagline. I want to believe.
It's like an inspirational poster. You want to
not-
believe, but you're not going to be happy if the results aren't in your favor.
Right, if you're not convinced, you can't believe, but you want to believe it. You want to believe that there's aliens, but it's like, where's the evidence? Where's the proof?
Yeah, if someone told me that Bigfoot was not real or anything, and there was no possible way that it's just a made up legend
I'd
and like
believe that
100% fact or evidence, I'd be like, I kind of already knew, but I didn't want to know. You know what I mean? I didn't want to have that final
Harry and
cement in the
Henderson.
coffin.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Harry and the Hendersons?
No.
That's like, I think it's like an 80s movie.
I know what
Chase.
the basis of
I think-
it is.
yeah,
With
yeah.
the Bigfoot or Sasquatch
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing. It's just a little bit ridiculous to think that we're so willing to accept these types of notions, and people are going to chase after it. It's hard to believe like there isn't someone that's willing to just be. They're so fed up with life that they want to go to hell and see if it's real, or someone that's daring to look at the devil straight in the face and be like, yeah, let's do this thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it sounds interesting to me. It's just, there's not enough to go on to like dedicate your whole life to that possibility of it not even existing. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that it doesn't exist, but just that you'll never get to that point of like, even if there was some sort of, ultimate devil character. Because it's like, I could see somebody going down that road if that was the outcome. If you knew that was the outcome, like, dedicating themselves to like having this, epic, meeting, I guess, of sorts, or fight with this.
if you had to think there was a way, like,
Sounds like an epic story.
you come in contact with the devil or this type of demonic force, and it's like you have to go to hell, you don't have a choice, there's no other thing, but you get to choose whatever you get to ride or drive to go there, what would you choose? Like, if you were on, like, there's like this giant stretch of highway that's so far, but you see the gates of hell all the way in the distance, and the devil's riding shotgun.
You're thinking in a physical sense. I think of it in like a more like spiritual or different planes.
That's how I'd want to do it,
You're
dude.
thinking like Adventure Time or something, or like Spawn. Or
I'm
like,
just thinking, like, I
Mad
would either
Max.
pick a really slow vehicle so it would take my sweet ass time getting there, or I would pick something that's gonna, like, I can just shred the fucking road while I go on this highway to hell, man.
Yeah, that totally play that song. I don't know. I guess yeah, something off-road beasts or oh, dude, I want like a monster truck. Just roll in there with Gravedigger.
1969 freaking Pontiac Judge.
You're like, what? I can't hear you. Satan? What?
I'd be like, yo, put in that mixtape. Straight fire. Let's light this candle. Tear up some asphalt.
Totally.
Well, anybody that wants to look up the Seven Gates of Hell, it's a weird little myth, but a little legend. I don't know if it's really beneficial to have this type of story out there, but it seems like society's trying to always conjure up something that gives somebody an idea to go chase after something, and the idea that there's not really a possible way you can find out. Because what? You complete all 7 gates and then like, oh, you didn't do this correctly, so you have to restart. It's the whole idea that we're never going to really have a final outcome or answer to it, even though you might know it's horse crap, but you never know.
We might. And if any of you have been to the 7th gate, let us know.
You're probably not alive, but say hi to Adam Sandler and that talking bulldog for me. Thanks for